is the X109B14, modified, transistorized, totally automatic assembly machine. Within 6 months, our entire production facilities will be totally automated. Ladies and gentlemen, from now on, Whipple will operate from a brain center with machines such as this one.
It used to be, 300 years ago that machines during the Industrial Revolution replaced blue-collar work, very easy-to-do jobs, and then those people got educated and got better-paying jobs. Today, instead, our machines are replacing not the muscle work, but the brain work, right? And when you lose that kind of job, the only place you can go in the economy is usually downward in pace.
I mean, Google is a search company. They're using AI all over the place. Siri on our phones, that's all just AI in the background of there. Yeah. And so we're going to see more and more penetration of these sort of uses that really help our lives and make our lives easier.
Care bots, what I call care bots, that will do the dishes and keep track of grandma and let her have some control, even if she's got dementia, so that she can go on a walk and be steered back so she can decide what she wants for dinner.
And does the AI community concern itself at all with the future of human employment? For instance, I heard Dr. Russell kind of joke about, well, we'll just let the policymakers figure it out. So he's got a lot of faith, but...
Tuesday, the 3rd of February 2015. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
And this is our Unpenned Show. Every single week we try and find time to do this.
We do.
Finding time is something that was very important in the early days, and we didn't realise how important it was, did we? Because people never have enough.
No.
And the one thing they're trying to create is free time.
Cheers.
Yeah, but the reason why they don't have any free time is because they're too busy paying for the time they've already sold in the future.
Yeah.
Time is money. If you ain't happy today, it's because you've promised your happiness to yourself in the future. You've made promises that you probably are not happy to keep. Because you've stolen today's happiness and you've thrown it into next week, next month, next year, or next decade.
Yeah.
That's what people do, isn't it?
I've done it, yeah.
We've all been guilty. Some survive and some can't. That's why today in the newspapers I actually saw one of many of the same type things I've seen over the years. How happy are you? And it was one of those surveys that 23% of Britain is pretty much basically happy with the lot, which means quite simply 77% aren't happy with the lot.
We're not right happy.
When we see those figures that 40% of the UK are happy to support this, which means 60% probably aren't. But they say the lower figure in a positive delivery. So somehow, who would fight against that? I read the first two questions because I thought, right, okay, let's see if this is as good as all the rest of the crazy psychological profiles that you subject yourself to. I read the first question, four options, didn't have the answer that I wanted. Okay, didn't have the answer that I wanted, so I couldn't answer number one. Didn't have the answer available. Read number two. Didn't have the answer available that I wanted to give. Do you see how thinking for yourself buggers this up? Because the idea is you're meant to pick one of the four that we've given you. Not your own.
Not your own idea. No.
One of these four answers will be applicable to your life. There isn't an option number 5. Which one? 1, 2, 3, or 4? When you actually say the answer I want to give doesn't exist in that choice,
Mm.
the pollster has got no business with you. He cannot tell you how happy you are, because only if you answer the pre-selected choice questions, they'll tell you how happy you are.
Mm.
How sort of far away from normal do you want to live?
That's just was my point exactly. That how you're not normal then, are you? Because you're a bit of a freak. You've not chosen what everybody else chooses.
If you don't buy a tick in their boxes, if you don't tick it,
yeah,
then you're not part of the show, are you?
No.
Because
Cuckoo.
that's right. You see, you need to tick it and an admission.
Yes.
So they can show you how happy you are. Ticket, admission, show. Yeah?
Yep.
It was just a joke. So I looked through a few more and I thought, yeah, they'll tell me how happy I am. Not for me to decide. No. They'll tell me. Eventually, I'll be happy with survival.
Mm-hmm.
With the ability to actually breathe, eat, and exist.
Yeah.
In a world that has been stolen from me, from a counterfeit system of money, from people who make it up with a magic wand, who planned it from the start.
They did.
And they've stolen everything from us by frightening the life out of us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just like an abusive mummy and daddy who tell you fairy tales at bedtime and then are too stupid to work out why you have nightmares.
And take away your privileges, treating us like naughty children.
Because we act like
yes.
Let's look back in the history that you and I know exists, and that's our lives and the lives our parents talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And let's have a look at the fall.
Yes.
Because it's their evidence for us, isn't it?
It's right in front of my eyes with my children.
The evidence is there.
It is.
I have, as many people know, a fish and chip shop in North Yorkshire. If you look at the UK, try and find the centre of the UK, not just England. So pretty much you've missed me by about 10 miles. That's where we are.
We should be going forward. We opened with the artificial intelligence and making our lives better.
That's ripped off Alex Jones. I'm not in the slightest bit embarrassed about that.
No.
It says exactly what we talk about.
And moving forward from that it's meant to make our lives better, and this is what that was selling. This is the snake oil salesman telling you that this is going to make your life better, and my kids believe that this technology will make their lives better, when in actual fact the rug's been pulled from under their feet and they cannot achieve the things that we achieved.
Nope.
It's not possible for them. They cannot afford it.
But they don't have any desire to do it.
Exactly. The desire. You and I had the tenacity to say, I can't have it. I'll bloody show you how I'm going to get it. I'll get it one way or another. I'll get what I want, and to some extent we did. But you had to sell yourself soul down the river, as you do.
We had to give a lot for it. We had to pay for it a lot of times.
And there is a way out of it. Slowly, you can get yourself out of it to a certain extent. And I'm trying my best to do that. And it's very difficult, I know.
But you've managed to let go of them with chase.
But you've got
instead of seeing this as your primary reason for living, paying these bloody money-making counterfeiters.
Yes, yeah.
You saw it once as your primary reason for living, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
You'd built yourself a dream that was at the end of a very long rainbow.
It was at the end.
And you realised that this rainbow and its rules and were being moved.
They're always moved. Yes,
they were being moved around, and your ability to achieve this journey was being hindered greatly by obstacles being put in your place called rules, regulations, and unfair competition.
Yes.
You realise that they don't want you to succeed.
No.
They want you to break your bloody back trying to pay for it, fail at the end, and they can take it off you.
And then take it off you
and
anyway.
then sell it to somebody else as their dream.
Yeah, try and sell it to somebody else. Exactly. That's exactly how it works. Yes.
But what I was trying to sort of put into words while you were talking there is we forget. We have a wonderful ability to forget things. And as we get older, it's all the more evident. Now, some say, don't talk about your staff like that because it's not very pleasant. Well, that's very. I appreciate advice for people who might want to say that, but I'm going to do it anyway. And because I've had the same staff for a long time, And because they really are, I wouldn't want to replace any of them. I'm happy with what we get and what we do and how we get along. But let me tell you what happens. This fish and chip shop has ran the same way for over 27, 28 years. But last year we had a refit, of which you were the major architect and construction of doing so.
Facilitator.
Exactly. So we had a major refit, and we got a new bit of kit, the new frying range, a new till. And because the frying range was different and more modern than the old one, the methods of doing things had to change a little bit. For the first time, I saw resistance to change.
Mm-hmm.
We had to change because the new range wouldn't work like the old one. It didn't fry the same, it didn't have the same abilities, it was faster, it had more capacity, lots and lots of things had changed. The cooking times, the cooking amounts, everything. So we had to rethink how we did things. The resistance to change was amazing to me. I had to change immediately because I was the guy who was instigating the changes. The reason the range had changed is because I changed it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to work out what was to be changed fastest, then transmit it to everybody else so it could be changed. Do you know how long it took to actually get those changes through so we were happy with how things were now running?
I would say 2 or 3 months.
It took almost 6 months. And
yeah.
the minute that I actually don't monitor and push and check and because what do? We go back to the old way.
Old ways, yeah.
We go back to the old way we did it. And things that we know, like how we make vinegar. We make vinegar like you make orange squash at home from a concentrate.
Yeah.
And we have a certain little level in the 5 litre container that we put the concentrate in and then fill it all up with water. And magically that level changes because they forget where the level is. But the actual 5 litre container is marked where the level is, but they magically forget and say, I thought it was this level, sorry. But that's after 12, 13, 14, 15 years I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I thought it was that level that we were using. Silly me, forgot. It's not any intentional, it's not on purpose. It's just that we forget.
Mm-hmm.
We forget. I've got a card machine, and this card machine costs me we tell customers that it costs me 25 pence to process it.
Mm-hmm.
So orders that are small orders.
Yeah.
We say, look, I'm paying 25 pence to process it for you for the luxury of the card.
Yeah, for you having a card.
So under £5,
yeah.
I'm going to ask you to pay the 25p.
$5.25, yeah.
You're asking me to pay for your luxury of the card.
Mm-hmm.
Well, under £5, I'm not going to. Well, this figure of 25p changes when I'm not listening. The staff say it's 50p for under £5. I said, when's it been 50 pence? Well, I thought it always was. Do you know what's right? It's because other shops charge that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Other shops charge 50 pence.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's what everybody else is doing, they forget we only charge 25. We charge 50 pence for that service. Is that all right? So we never charge 50 pence. Well, I've charged 50 pence before. Well, good for you, but it's 25, and always they forget.
Mm-hmm.
Because we rely on other people to remember things that are important.
We do.
We do that, and that's what's happening with technology.
It is.
We're asking our superiors and the thinkers to remember for us, so we don't have to busy our minds with that sort of stuff, because we're interested in having fun.
Mm-hmm.
On this planet that we live, we could make the claim that we are the only animal that doesn't have a natural predator. We don't actually have to be aware of predators and the likelihood of being eaten by that predator on a daily basis. We don't have to run our lives along the ways of we must teach our children very quickly who the enemy is and how to protect themselves. So we don't. So it means we have, compared to the animals around us who do have those considerations to work with all day, we can play. We've got more playtime.
Mm-hmm.
We've got playtime more than any other animal there is. In fact, we look forward to playtime. We work all day hoping to have some playtime left.
Yeah.
And if we get away with playing at work, we'll do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
If we go back 2 or 3 lifetimes ago, let's go back to when slavery, and I'm doing the fingers up, slavery, was abolished. Was it 1833, something like that? I think it was.
Around
1833. I think we can now actually agree that just a new version was introduced.
It was
It was a new version of freedom.
It was an update.
A new version of freedom. Your choices were still limited and controlled, but the freedom was probably over and above what we had before then.
Mm-hmm.
So I could quite happily join a debate. Are we more free or less free now than we were then? The answer will be equal and opposite. More free in many ways, less free in others.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had the freedom to provide for ourselves, because the control system didn't actually feed us. We had to build our own houses and feed ourselves. But now, through cooperations, now the control system builds our houses and provides our food, as long as we pay them handsomely for it. So, even though with our rose-coloured spectacles we can look back to 2 or 3 lifetimes ago and pretend that it was somehow better, it was harder.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot harder to live in the luxury. We didn't have the luxury we have today.
No.
And we wouldn't be able to survive, I don't think, if we went back to those times.
No. We
would not physically survive. If we go back to the late 1800s and the 1900s, we can. History isn't that rewritten so far that those weren't good times. The revolutions had taken place, and the cities and the towns and that, they were pretty much all existing. But we weren't good people, because you either had a job and had a house and could pay your bills, but many, many could not. And the criminals, the thieves, the burglars, there was no safety net for those that couldn't manage.
No.
As this new system was being introduced of, you became a number, you became a worker, you became an employee, you became less than, and you were subservient to whoever you said, please sir, can I get paid, can I have a job? Mm-hmm. It took a lot of people, it was a big change for most people to work for somebody else in that role. You were told you were free, but you've got to do as you're told.
Of course,
it was difficult. Mm-hmm. It was difficult to actually balance the two together. Were we good people? Well, I know one thing: we bloody worked hard. We bloody worked hard. I mean, you go to Beamish Museum, and the display they have on the coal miners, and the lives they lived, and the house they lived in, and the hours they worked. We wouldn't last a week. We wouldn't last a week. We wouldn't do it.
No.
We would not do it. And yet, the very reason that we have what we have today, and the empire could fuel itself around the world, was the coal out of those mines that was fueling the ships that were sailing the seas. Really was quite a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those coal miners, although they're not remembered in history in a way they should be, they were the heart and soul of this country, and the reason why it was, and took part in what we know today to be empire.
Yeah. Mm.
Life was hard.
Yeah, and dangerous.
And dangerous.
And dangerous, yeah.
And there was still no safety net.
No.
There was still no safety net for those that couldn't manage.
No.
There just wasn't.
No,
you had to rely on your own. So you had as many kids as you could, and made sure that if you needed something, your kids could help you as you got older.
My grandparents and my great-grandparents, they were taken in because my great-granddad died. And there was no... I'm only talking late 20s, early 30s.
It was the 30s when some sort of unemployment came in, and some sort of welfare as well came in. It was coming in.
Yeah, only
as
just though.
Yeah, as the workhouses were being closed.
Yeah.
There had to be a better way. And there was. And socialism was on its way. They knew how things were going to be changed. And you can read many quotes that socialism was brought in this country, full socialism, after the Second World War. We'd fought them all the Second World War. Then 2 years later, we voted socialism in at this end. And the philosophers, the economists of the day knew it would bankrupt the country. They knew it would. It would just take the amount of time that the promise had been promised for, which was 65 years.
Yeah.
And pretty much 65 years on the dot. Here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are, in big trouble now.
Since 70, when they changed all the money.
When they stole real money and gave us the counterfeit.
Stole the real money, yeah.
They gave us the counterfeit sun, moon and stars, didn't they? The gold, silver and the copper, the sun, moon and stars control system, which is what the...
Decimalisation.
Yeah. I've said a long time ago now, actually, that if fish and chips were 2 and 6 in 1971, that would be 12.5p. You bring me the coins that make 2 and 6 today and I'll give you fish and chips.
Because they had proper
because they had silver
and copper in
they had
them.
value in and of themselves.
Yeah.
So those coins now in today's open market are worth over £4. Bring me what we exchanged for 2 and 6, 12.5 pence, and you'll get a couple of lollies out of the bucket at the end of the counter. So that people say the biggest robbery in history is currently underway, and I'm not going to argue.
No.
But the one that they should refer to and remember is that it's not that long ago since the biggest robbery in history was done to us before. This ongoing process of thievery is it will complete its cycle when we have nothing left but the credits they give us to exist.
Yeah. This is when we'll know it's in full place, is when we're existing on tokens or credits or...
Well, it always starts at the bottom. Always starts at the bottom.
Yep.
They'll be given a debit card.
Yeah.
Or a card that's loaded with credits, but it'll only be allowed to be spent on certain items.
Yeah.
At certain stores, probably.
Yeah.
But very hard to implement that, because that means the actual person on the checkout is going to have to say you can't have these. So there's going to have to be some method.
Yeah.
You can't buy cigarettes, you can't buy alcohol, that sort of thing. Well, if it's credits loaded on a card, they will be able to.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to definitely implement that properly. I know they've got it in America, I think, and they've got it in Australia as well. But the card is it's not perfect. It doesn't work properly. Those things that you can't buy, you sort of can buy. You go to certain shops and they just turn a blind eye, if you see what I mean. So they've got to get they've got to wire in those shop computers to the live grid.
Yeah.
So that it's not the checkout operator that's saying you can't have those. It's the computer that says you can't have them. Because it needs to be the computer says no.
The computer says no,
That's what it needs to be. You need to be able to pass the blame to the computer. So the computer says no. So probably IDing yourself by fingerprint or RFID before the transaction takes place is probably going to be the method that's going to have to be used. Interested to see how they actually implement that.
Yeah.
RFID is on the way on my Facebook page. Well, you're on my Facebook page, it'll be below this YouTube video. But RFID is on its way if we'll take it this time round. This is the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time that people are having it, and it's really popular. So let's see how that works out. Let's see how it works out. The soldiers will get it first. There's plenty of evidence now that soldiers are using it. And if you want to know how all the footballers have been, the footballers are running around the football pitch all day with they know how many miles he's covered, how many times he's touched the ball, where he is on the pitch. It's because they're all wearing RFID in the shirts. So they know which footballer's which and can identify what they're doing and how far they've run and how fast they've run and how far did they kick the ball and how hard did they kick the ball, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So all those stats are coming from RFID in their shirts. It's all waiting for us to be happy to accept it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what's going on here.
They're bringing it in with the exercise at the moment, aren't they? And linked to your heart monitor and how many steps you've done.
But people love it.
And how much
and I'm okay with it all, by the way. I am
how much
okay
exercise
with that.
you've done, yeah.
Because I think we are guilty of being allowed to do things that perhaps, we shouldn't have access to things that are bad for us. But we want access to things that are bad for us. So the one thing that I have learned along this journey is that, when we were talking earlier about we've demanded our lives to be made easier by complaining how hard they are. But then we complain how hard they are because the system wants to make it hard for us. Because if we don't re-educate ourselves and improve our education, then we become less and less valuable to the system. And at some point in the future, if we don't make ourselves of value, when scarcity becomes so tight in the money system, in the food system, in the employment system, in whatever system, when it becomes so difficult to provide for all those that demand, will there be a day that comes when those that have are going to be asked, how are we happy to keep supporting those that have not? And when the answer is no, we're not,
yeah,
then those that have not are going to have to wonder, so now what do we do? I don't agree with any of this system because it is all part of a much bigger agenda. But what we're going to do when we get there, when are we going to say, I knew this day would come, told you, because Greece is on its way, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Greece is getting there. Okay, we have a party at the moment and the guy turns up and we want to renegotiate our debt down. Well, let's have a look at anybody who goes bankrupt. Let's have a look at any business that goes bankrupt. And when this happens, when the possibility of more money is not possible, then you have to sit down with your creditors, don't you, and do a deal.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, what have you got? What have you got that you're interested in? And history shows us throughout Europe, the peoples of each country over time have eventually been used as collateral to raise money so the government can borrow it. In other words, future taxation is what governments around the world have used as a promise to collateralise the loans that they want. Now, when that future taxation promise is no longer
making
available,
a return,
available, then what choices do the governments who are in debt to the banks who make it up out of nothing have? Well, it's give away the infrastructure or sell it for very cheap. But what happens if they've pretty much done that? Then it's either the land. If they have control of the land, then they can give away the land as part payment, which means that the creditor becomes not the owner of your house, but the owner of the land that the house is on. So you will pay your ground rent to him. I think you'll find in most countries, but I know this one's true, and America's true as well, that here in this country we actually own our houses. But we use the word own, but the actual word is freehold.
Yes.
We have the freedom to hold it. And that's okay, because it means that what's above ground is yours. And you can buy and sell it as long as you pay the ground rent. The ground rent is part of your council tax, and the reason it's collected is because you register your house with Her Majesty. So she takes overall control of what's on her ground, and she asks you for a small ground rent every year, and you pay it without knowing as part of your council tax. Going back to Greece, when Greece runs out of things to put up as collateral,
the freehold's all gone.
When they only have one choice left, and this may be the bank's ultimate aim, I'll be amazed if it isn't, and that is, ultimately the bank will say to the government, we don't trust you at all. You are financially incompetent. You're not fit for purpose. We have listened to every excuse you've given us, and we've allowed you to bribe your people so you can stay in power. We've allowed you to kid your people that there is such a thing as a free lunch. We actually allowed you to do this on purpose, because if you didn't realise the next thing we're going to say, we knew what the next thing we were going to say is, and that is that if you can no longer be trusted to collect taxes properly and deliver them to the people who they're promised to, we'll do it for you.
And there you go.
The Inland Revenue Service, the control of the tax and collection of it, is going to be given to the banks eventually. So all those countries who are saying, let's tell them to shove it, let's tell them to go fly, I'm going to ask you something. If what I've said is true, what do we think the other method out is? And do you know what the other method out is? It's the painful way. It's actually the painful way that we don't want to face. It's the actually only way that as a country we will probably be able to get out of this. But I know that we will never do it. And that is to swallow the pill. Whole. And so guys, if you keep jacking the interest on, we're done. We're down, you're down, these people are going to down tools, and you're going to get nothing. But we're prepared to do your deal. Stop jacking the interest on, give us 100 years, and slowly we'll give you it back. And yeah, we're going to have to go through some pain and go without. But that's the only way we're going to get out of it. Who's going to vote for pain? Nobody. Because we're far too silly now. Far too domesticated. Far too materialistic. And we're not going to do it, are we?
No,
we're not. The people of Greece have voted for a free lunch. Something for nothing. A promise to make them happy in the future. while delivering a little bit of something for now.
Yeah.
The skill of the con man.
Mm-hmm.
He always gives you a small win to entice you in, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
He always says, I have something that you're going to love here. You give me a tenner and I'll turn it into 20 quid. And if you're interested, I'll tell you how I do it. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I believe Spain's voting for the same idea now, isn't it?
It is Spain, and Italy will do the same.
And I believe that
and Portugal.
And I believe that we have a militant type carry on going here.
Mm-hmm.
A militant type carry on that they'll say yes, stuff them.
We're wanting to follow suit and say no.
But we haven't gone bang yet, have we? So
not yet.
We're not really hurting yet, are
No.
we? Not really, and
No.
we've got a magic bank as well.
We have.
Because we'd have trouble with Germany telling us what to do, wouldn't we?
Mm-hmm.
We'd be at war again. All
Yeah.
those countries in Europe, they're okay with Germany telling them what to do. The reason why we've got our bank is because we wouldn't be okay with Germany telling us what to do, would we? We would not be happy about that, would we? No. So what happens when Germany does tell us what to do?
Mm-hmm.
What happens when it is like, you'll be paying, or you'll not be part of the European Union? Well, we don't want to be part of the European Union. Do you think we're going to get the chance to get out?
No.
Never.
No.
No. The opportunity to get out, and we might even have a vote on it until we give them the right answer.
Yeah.
How do you know? Because previously these things have been done to other countries,
It's happened to Ireland.
and despite what the countries think they wanted, they were told what they wanted,
Yeah.
and it was what they had, what they got.
Yeah. And if we think we're not going to submit to it, look at what's going on in Ireland at the moment with the water. Now, you've talked about this before, that the water's got to be the final and last resort and resource that they can turn it on or turn it off. We can last 3 days.
Well, you can tell that the water's going to be used because the water meter's already gone in.
The water meters
You
are
can tell
in.
that the water is going to be used first.
It is, yeah.
It is, but first of all, they're going to poison lots of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't poison it, they have to say it's poisoned.
They do, yeah.
They have to say you can't drink that, you can't drink that, you can't drink that. All you can drink is what we've got.
Mm-hmm.
So even if this fracking thing was just a whole charade, even if the thing was just let's get a few sites going, and then we can claim that the water's contaminated. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't drink it now.
Nope.
So you leave it to us. We have to put it through lots more processes, cost a lot more money, up you go prices.
Yeah.
The money's going to run out for the poor people. It's going to run out, and it's going to run out for the people who don't know the poor yet. And it's going to run out for the people who are working, who never thought it was going to come and get them.
Nope.
And then it's going to run out for the people who were sure it wasn't going to come and get them, who've been taking the piss out of the people who are working.
Mm-hmm. And how do we know it'll work? Because that's what they've been doing with Africa for years. Just give £2 a month.
I know, it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or just build them a bloody water treatment plant and let them sort it out themselves, you dozy kids. Give them a water treatment plant, let them figure it out for themselves. They've got aquifers, they've got access.
But there's the control, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the ultimate control.
Because they don't want them to have any more than that.
No, they don't.
They need a whole set of poor people they can experiment on and make you feel guilty about.
Yeah.
It's a con science of control.
It is.
It is, I know, I realise that. The water is the last resource that they're going to hold in scarcity, and we're going to be told that we just can't waste it, you know.
We can't.
A few years ago,
no,
it wasn't even metered. In fact, they would have embarrassed to meter it, wouldn't they? Because it was free. And the people that we paid locally ran the local waterworks, and it was all for our benefit.
It was called Water Authority. Then it was called.
Either way, it's French, and they're gonna rape us.
They are.
How do you know? Because they've quadrupled my water price in 12 years. Still called Yorkshire Water, so you still think it's run by Yorkshire people.
Yeah,
but it's not.
No, Northumbria Water's owned by the Chinese now. Sold to the Chinese. So, yeah, they have the ways and means to do it. And
if we see the world as a
we
big
will
monopoly board,
then
the countries are
the
properties.
Yeah, they have the water, the gas board, electric board on there. They have the train stations, don't they?
But we're not worried.
Transport.
We're not worried about. We're not worried about the changes that are coming in the way that we're trying to stop them. That's kinking you. It's not going to work.
No.
We can't do that. You can't do that because the majority of the population is okay with what's coming. And invested in what's coming. And their money is reliant on investing on future success.
Well, look at what happened at Grangemouth. The big fuel depot there, the refinery there, and the unions wanted him out on strike, and we're not working under these conditions, blah, blah, and the boss just turned around and said, I'll close it then, because I'm not making any money. I'll close it. And the unions buckled in. That was it. The ultimate power he had was, I'm not making any money, and I don't have to do this. I can go away and sail away on my yacht, and I don't have to care a jot about you. I'll close it. Within a couple of days, it had all quietened down. That is the power they've got.
The have-nots and the have-yachts.
Yes. That's it, exactly.
Yeah, when you've got a yacht, you've made it, haven't you? You are in the upper echelon. You are at the highest tier.
Yeah.
Yachts and boats.
Mm-hmm. And Maxwell ended up falling off the back of one, didn't he? Supposedly.
Yes, so they say. So they say. I don't know. All pirates end up in a watery death, don't they? So they say.
Walking the plank.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter, the symbols, the
No.
myths, the legends. These are all wonderful mysteries.
Yeah.
To entertain children. And
Yeah.
it is part of our education, because when you do start again studying this stuff, the shapes and the symbols are what you learn first.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a child.
Yeah, your comic book, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
your picture book.
And then you get the ABCs.
Yeah.
And the 1, 2, 3s, and you get the alternative numerology.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the alternative words, which is what we share quite often. And then eventually you learn about the show. And the show is fantastic. It's a fascination of amazement, isn't it?
It is.
It really is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get past the show, it'll hold you forever. But you need to get past the show. Because the problem that the world is suffering from is denial of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You actually deny who you are, what you're capable of, and who you actually think you should be.
Mm.
We're living in a world of mini superheroes who tell lies to themselves all day. And I've said this many times. If you still find yourself actually fighting with people about anything, really, you're not awake. Because if I had to write a list of things that awake people, the characteristics, a refusal to fight about things that don't matter. But things that don't matter is different to everybody. Okay, point number 2. If you have no money, you will not be fully awake. Oh, now you're annoying me now, because money doesn't matter. I've got the internet and I've got books and I can read and I can study. Number 3. The world that actually exists is created by the one you want to exist in your head. Until you've actually collapsed and crumbled the world that you thought existed, and then built a brand new one for yourself to live in, it's still illusion.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not sure I've done that. Good. Keep going then. Because that's the truth of it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is the truth of it. Sometimes point number 1, sometimes point number 2, people can say, yeah, I can see how that, and then they can make claims that perhaps they've done it in their own way. But point number 3 is, for me, crucial. Until you've given up on, and you've entirely given up on the world that you were living in, and rebuilt one that makes an awful lot more sense than the one you were living in. There is a 4th point. If you're not maintaining yourself independently, you can never be awake. Ever. Ever. Yes, I can. Okay, I've just made my rules, and I don't think you are.
Yeah. You cannot. Yeah. You've got an understanding.
If you need something, then you are needy.
Mm-hmm.
If you need something to be you, then you are not independent. Don't tell me you are, and don't lie to me, because I don't take any money from it. I maintain myself. How do you do that? Well, I'm not telling you, Kate Gaia. That's for you. That's for me to know. That's for me to know. Okay. Do you drive a car? Yes, but I don't drive. I transport myself. I travel. I don't drive. Okay, you got a car. Yeah. Insured? No. Get off the roads then. Get off the roads. Okay? I don't think there's any sane person in this country would say, just because you've made up a world where you don't have to insure your car, that's okay by them. Now, I'm going to say it's okay by me, as long as you've got all the money you might need, should you crash into me. Because should you crash into me because of a defect on your car, which is not beyond the realms of possibility, whether it be a blown tyre or faulty brakes or whatever, should you crash into me and wreck my car, I shall fully expect you to replace it, because it was your defect that caused the accident. I shan't be annoyed with you, and I shan't be upset, and I shall be very I shall hope that you and I both get out of that crash successfully, and then I'll expect you to pay for it immediately.
Yeah.
Now, if you can do that, if you have £1 million in the bank, I'm going to say, yeah, if you're prepared to insure yourself, not my bloody business, is it?
No.
But if you can't fix my car immediately because of the action, the harm you've caused, then I don't think you should be on the road. There'll be a few out there that want to argue with me, but you know what? Don't you type it. Don't you tell other people that I'm wrong. You get on Skype and you find me, because my name and connection is underneath this YouTube video, and you tell me why you don't have to insure a car. But first of all, make sure you're not on benefits and you've got £1 million in the bank, and then I'll take your call. You can ring me up and lie to me if you want and tell me you have those things, but I think I'll soon figure it out.
Well, now, in regard to this problem of the ultimate revolution, this has been very well summed up by the moderator. In the past, we can say that all revolutions have essentially aimed at changing the environment in order to change the individual. I mean, there's been the political revolution, the economic revolution, in the time of the Reformation, the religious revolution. All these aimed, as I say, not directly at the human being, but at his surroundings, so that by modifying the surroundings you did achieve, at one remove, an effect upon the human being. Today we are faced, I think, with the approach of what may be called the ultimate revolution, the final revolution, where, well, it seems to me that the nature of the ultimate revolution with which we are now faced is precisely this, that we are in process of developing a whole series of techniques which will enable the controlling oligarchy, who have always existed and presumably always will exist, to get people actually to love their servitude. This is seems to me the ultimate in malevolent revolution, shall we say? And this is a problem which has interested me for many years, and about which I wrote 30 years ago a fable, The Brave New World, which is essentially the account of a society making use of all the devices at that time available, and some of the devices which I imagined to be possible, making use of them in order to, first of all, to standardize the population, to iron out inconvenient human differences, to create, so to say, mass-produced models of human beings arranged in some kind of a scientific caste system. And
anybody having problems with that? 1962, Berkeley, I think it is.
Yep.
I'll link it up below the YouTube. That's 53 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody could be that accurate unless they already knew that was what was needed.
That was the planet.
How much did he get wrong there?
None of it.
You cannot be that accurate without knowing what was coming.
No.
He was almost blind when he died, you know. Almost blind. Aldous Huxley, author of Brave New World, as you heard there, and Brave New World Revisited. He rewrote it in 1958. When we started the show this evening, we played a clip from an Alex Jones intro last week.
Yeah.
And I played it on purpose, and thanks to Alex, it's a good clip. I've used it because I like it. And I don't think he'll mind.
No.
So, it's about artificial intelligence and what we're going to be offered. And how these wonderful home helps are going to enhance our lives.
Yep.
This is, of course, just a stepping stone. If you look at the robots and the home helps that we've been offered over the years, we've been offered the Hoovers, haven't we? And they were offered in the 1970s. Hoovers that scan the room. And
robot Hoovers.
Yeah. Anyone using them?
No.
Nope.
There's even one that did the lawn. Similar sort of thing.
Same thing, yeah. Because these are just things to occupy our minds. A bit like electric cars, isn't it? Now, we had a little break there, and you wanted to come back in on a subject which was the 3-person baby.
Yep. 3 parents.
Yep. And in Scotland we have a version of that now where social services play the role in between mummy and daddy.
Yeah. Where
every newborn is given an assigned social worker, and they make sure that mummy and daddy are providing everything that social worker says that you should be providing for your kid. And should you defy the social worker, even though it's 2 voices against 1, your child will be removed if you don't do as you're told.
Yep.
Anyway, that's Scotland. But that's not the 3-person relationship we're talking about today. That's a news item that we can talk about from BBC this morning, actually. And that is the genetic manipulation of faults that may exist in the reproduction process. And this is where your genetic the genetic information involved between mummy and daddy to make children can be screened, and any faults can be removed, and the faulty gene will be removed and replaced with what is said to be a fully working and the appropriate gene. The replacement will be anonymous, so you won't know who the 3rd actual human being is in this sequence. I can't tell you that's not going to happen, but I can tell you what I think actually might be happening. The anonymous gene donor might not be a human being.
Might not exist, no.
It might be a designer gene. And because they've been trying to get this in for some time, the actual scanning the gene sequence and replacing what they deem to be faulty or changing traits that we perhaps would not want in our children. So we've been offered designer children in 2010 and 2012, but only for the very, very richest. It's like everything else. It's whatever we'll catch on to, isn't it? However, to get the ball rolling, it's whatever we'll buy into. It's what we'll give our money and our consent to. So they keep going and going and going, like all good insurance salesmen, because that's all these people are. They pretend to insure your lives while ruining it, breaking it, and stealing everything off you.
Yeah.
But they're insurance salesmen. And insurance salesmen have a well-known saying: just keep knocking on enough doors. Eventually someone will answer. Just keep knocking. And that's what they do. They keep on knocking and they don't give up. So we have a medical need for this gene replacement therapy that can avoid problems that otherwise children might suffer if this wasn't done. Who can argue with that? Who can argue with that, huh? You can't argue with it, can you? I can't say that's wrong at all, can I? Because I can't say that's wrong. It's okay. It's always reasonable, isn't it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I can't be seen to even be disagreeing with that, can I? But where will it end? You see, it only starts here, that you accept it at this point. What happens when the NHS offers gene screening? What happens when all those who are being enrolled into IVF schemes, Because I believe the numbers now are increasing dramatically. Girls and boys who can't have children the
through
natural
infertility,
way.
yeah.
So if we start off on the couples that are having IVF treatments, and if we offer them free gene screening, so we can identify the problems that may exist, and perhaps we can say, well, we've spotted problems here, 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 and here, and this could cause a problem. So would you like us to help? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Average are going to say, of course they'd like some help. What happens if those genes, and not just from Mr. and Mrs. Anonymous, the replacements I mean, what happens if those genes are from designer parents, or they're just synthetically designed replacements? So your child now is in the hands of the Gene Therapy Replacement Centre. Yeah? What happens, this is a long conversation I'm going through here, what happens if the long-term plan is the artificial intelligence is going to be not the robots that you're shown on RoboCop?
No, on
what happens if
I'm
the
Robot.
artificial intelligence is not full of lights and wires and batteries and sensors? What happens if the artificial intelligence is going to be you? What happens if you're going to be changed over time so you become the perfect slave? So while we are busy funding and get excited about, home help here, help for grandma, do the garden, drive the car, take care of this, take care of that, speak 300 languages, feed the dog, all that sort of things, we're getting really excited about, that's what we're going to get. What happens if it isn't for us? What happens if it's like the Sinclair electric car of the 80s? We'll all be driving electric cars in no time at all. And he was sat in the London traffic in nothing more than a souped-up go-kart.
Yeah.
And somehow we fell for it, didn't we? It didn't work out for him. And he looked a fool, but he got TV time and he got the electric car agenda going. A little bit of history will tell you that we were using batteries to power submarines some considerable years before
First
then.
World War.
Exactly. Some years ago. I think I've mentioned before a diary entry in an engineer from Leeds. His father, a chap came in here, an old chap came in here, and his father had died. And he said, I was chattering. He said, my father used to keep a diary. He said, and I can remember a diary entry from 1919 when his father was just a young engineer. And the diary entry went, because we were talking about electric cars at the time, the diary entry went along the lines of 1919. These petrol-driven cars are okay, but battery-driven cars are much better. That was 1919. So yeah, electric cars in the form of battery-driven have been on the drawing board for over nearly 100 years now, and still we don't have electric cars. Quite a carrot they've been dangling, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's us that's going to be the electric vehicle, isn't it?
It is.
We're going to be electrified, bit by bit. The employment problem. This is a bit of a shot in the dark, this one, isn't it? But I'm going to have a go at it anyway. By 2030, 2040, the concerns around the world are now what we're all going to do. Well, I'm going to make a shot in the dark here. You ready for this one? This is just my forecast. Haven't read it anywhere else before. I just sometimes sit and think, what would I do if I was having to sort this all out? I would reprogram the women. I would reprogram the women after they've done all the damage that they've done in the West. Oh, I really want to do a radio show. I really want to do a radio show weekly, even daily, nightly, so guys can ring up and moan about women. I really want to know. I really want to hear guys bitching about bloody women. All we've got is Top Gear in it. It's not really enough, is it? It's not really enough, is it? They've got loose women, so we should have pissed off guys. Don't you think? In fact, if you think about it, if we'd called them loose women 10 years ago, yeah, you'd have had to duck, wouldn't you? Because it'd have been coming, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
A slap round, a slap would have been coming. You're loose women, you, aren't you? and now they're proud to sit on the panel and say they are. How things change. No, it's just the name of a show. Okay, try it. Are you a loose woman? No, but I'd like to be on there. Or you could get a slap. Let me know how you get on. I would love to do a phone-in chat show, radio show about bloody women. And I'd love to have a chat about, guys, what do you think you're doing wrong? But anyway, back to the I went off. Anyway, back to the conversation. If I was sat thinking, what shall I do with this problem here? I'll refer to Brave New World again. And I'll go back and say, right, what's he got planned for him? And if you noticed, what he had planned for him was, they were just sex. They were just there to provide sex. They were just sex slaves, really. And they were very offended if guys, all the guys, didn't approach
didn't want to sleep with them. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, I can see that. That's sort of coming along, isn't it? They were actually offended that they weren't being asked by all the guys.
Yes.
But we have to make the guys all attractive first. So I think we're in a period now of reprogramming human beings in the way that we've never been programmed before, or reprogrammed before, at least that we know for sure. And that is that the genes can now be reprogrammed. So instead of this top 20% choosing from the entire population of who they want to get married with and have kids with, we'll even out the playing field a little bit. So everybody is mostly attractive. And because of the employment problem being like there's not enough jobs for everybody, so I just turn the girls back into what the guys want, which is domestic goddesses, prostitutes in the bedroom, cook like their mum, and never argue. We'd love that, wouldn't we? Well, we would, though, wouldn't we? I mean, let's be honest. If that version of female was available, we'd love it for a while, though. For a while, because you actually want someone you want someone of your own intelligence, don't you? Really, you want someone to challenge you. But for a while, it would be quite pleasant, wouldn't it?
You need to complement each other, don't you?
You do. You need to find like.
It's gone too far at the moment where we're competing with the girls.
Are they competing? Are we competing with them, or is it the other way around?
It's the other way around.
I was going to say they compete with us
the
about stuff that we didn't realise we had to fight about. The girls want to
compete with the blokes. In fact, me and my wife had a little talk about that, and watching the darts this time around.
All right.
And the girls are getting quite good at darts.
No, not really.
They were hitting the doubles more often than the guys were. The numbers were there was.
We're going to have to do some weightlifting to get to throw.
There weren't as many 180s, and there was a few 21s. And I was sat there and said, I could get that. I'd get 21. But they're finishing on the doubles
You're actually doing it. He's throwing darts here.
They were more accurate. I was throwing the dart there, and they were finishing on the doubles more accurate than the men. And I said to my wife, I said, we should have the girls playing the guys. See how that works out.
Oh, they've tried that. It doesn't work. It doesn't really work out. Although there was a time when there's a big tall blonde girl. Is she German or Norwegian or North? Well, she's Norwegian.
I don't know.
Dutch. There's quite a tall girl. She's been around for a while. She'll still be around. And she did enter a guys' competition. She did okay. I think I can't remember. It was the first time the girl world champion had played a professional darts player in the top 16.
Yeah,
I don't think she won, but I think she gave him a good name. A good game.
Yeah.
So you are right. I've been talking. It's like amazing. Where do you get darts from? But I've been talking today. Right, I've been talking to the guy who owns a local nightclub about doing a Ripon City darts open. About using his club.
Yeah.
August Bank Holiday weekend to run a Ripon City darts open. And they obviously let all the people of Ripon know.
Put up a bit of prize money.
Well, I said to him, shall we do it for a bit of fun? Get a few local businesses organised, and I'll put a little bit in, and I'll just enjoy it. I mean, I'll be a sponsor. I'll be okay to sponsor it, and I'll help set it up. But a Ripon City darts open,
right.
where the people of Ripon get to know. Well, invite. They can invite whatever, but just ask the darts leagues to let everybody know that we're going to do it, just for a bit of fun.
But that and snooker and dominoes I
can't do snooker.
Is
I to sleep. That
it's a leveler, though, isn't it? It's not a physical sport.
Right.
Now we'll look at And this is where we got into the debate about I like the rugby. I like rugby union, and my wife likes rugby union. And the girls at rugby union, the England girls rugby team, are far more winning more tournaments than the guys are. And I said, well, we'll have to go and watch a game of rugby union with the women playing. My wife isn't interested to go and watch those.
Uh-huh.
Now, funnily enough, I said I'd like to go and watch the girls, see how good they are. I would like to see a full game. But my wife wasn't bothered about going to watch the girls, even though they've been more successful at the moment than the English team.
But the girls get something from watching the guys, and the guys get
exactly.
something from watching.
Yeah, she likes
something
looking at
different.
the thighs.
Exactly. I mean,
ooh,
girls,
he's a big lad.
Girls have their own favourites. Some forearms, some necks, some shoulders, some whatever.
A bald head and some with
don't ask me how that all works out, but it's true, isn't it?
Flocks of hair, locks of hair.
But it is like that.
Tied up with a sweatband. Yeah, but going back to the competition thing.
Uh-huh.
This and your point before about is this gene therapy that they're bringing in and messing with the genes to make a perfect slave?
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Yeah.
I mean, look, let's be honest here, right?
Mm-hmm.
The human race never sits still.
No.
All right, we say we don't like change. Well, why do we say that? Everything we do is change. You breathe in and breathe out. You've changed something.
Yeah.
You drink a glass of water. You've changed it.
You have.
You drive your car. You've changed the very process of what it needs to drive.
Mm.
You've changed it from one thing into another. You spend a £5. You've changed it into something else. Whether you bought a cauliflower, a cabbage, or an egg sandwich or whatever. Mm. It doesn't matter. Everything we do is change, so we have to accept that change is the method of moving forwards.
Yeah.
We don't, but we should. We have to understand technology will not leave us alone. We maybe wish it would. We can try not to use it. It's knocking on the door. It won't leave us alone.
Won't.
Dinosaurs die. Mm-hmm. Okay, we have to evolve. We have to move along.
We do.
It doesn't matter whether we like it or we don't. The system is not asking our individual advice. It doesn't care. We have no money, so we have no say. All the money we have and where we spend it is our only choices.
Mm-hmm.
What you do individually doesn't matter. But what it matters is that matters to you. You satisfy your own rules and regulations.
Yeah.
Nobody else will follow them. Nobody else will be required to follow them. And if you try telling people what to do, let me know how that goes on, because you'll be losing friends every time you try and do it.
Mm.
Because if you're listening to this show, you don't want people to tell you what to do. So I'm damn sure that you won't take somebody else doing it to you.
Mm.
The world you can change is the one you live in, and the only vote you have is your money.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand that, you don't understand enough to make a change about anything. We do this show to remind each other what it is that brought us this far. And what brought us this far was the desire to get this far. We have listened to everybody you've probably listened to. We've listened to all the things that we thought were true and accurate and we needed at the time. 90% of what we learned along the way was helpful to our journey, but we're not carrying it with us anymore, are we? Because it slows your journey down.
Mm.
People will give you advice along the way. Take what you think is useful, and when life goes wrong, go back and see what you did wrong and take the opposite turning. Or you can do what most ignorant people do, is they keep going saying, I'll find where I need to be eventually. You refuse to stop the car and ask someone or read the map. You just say, I'll go this way because I'm sure it's this way, and keep going until you get lost some more.
Mm-hmm.
How many times do we actually say, I don't know to an answer?
Not enough.
Not enough. Because the truth is we don't know much. But we don't ever admit that we don't know much. And it's mainly because we don't know much. Most people are walking around with fragments of news.
Mm.
Fragments of news, not the whole story, because the whole story is not available in a one. Fragments of news that they fit into today's painting. And they make it fit, and the gaps that exist, guess what? They just fill them in.
Mm.
They fill them in with stuff they've heard that might be true.
Yeah.
And if they haven't heard it, they fill it in with what they think it should be. I often ask this question, and I don't think people actually understand the depth and how profound this question is. Can you think something that nobody else has ever told you?
No.
Well, the answer is then that whatever you know is already known, and whether you say it or whether you don't say it won't change anything except what you now know. Life and the world around you won't change just because you now know it. Now what you're going to do with it? You see, creation is changing. Everything else is not. I don't expect anybody to make a difference to my life anymore, except the fact that we might share something of value.
Yeah.
You know, I don't expect to listen to someone and they actually make a difference to me. Because if somebody's giving me something for free, it might not be valuable, but I'll decide. But you can't go around shouting and bawling at people who are trying to make a difference. Whether you agree or not doesn't matter, but you can't go around shouting and bawling at them, because the only person that you're making look a fool is you. See, shouting and bawling's okay if they're there. They can't hear you.
No,
it's silly, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And they've got their opinion as well, and it's not for you to change it for them.
But it's like being brave while they're not listening. You see, in the world that I keep seeing is most people character assassinate everybody. Well, have you heard about so-and-so? And I listened to so-and-so the other night, you know, and oh, terrible. I'm not happy. They said this and they said... And I heard so-and-so, and who cares?
It doesn't matter, does it?
Because as long as you are character assassinating everybody else, remember, someone's doing it to you.
Yeah.
And if you find out who's been saying things that you don't like about you, you're going to be happy about that, yeah? No. But you can do it all day, can you? Upside down world, isn't it? It's a really upside down, silly world. Yeah. It's like 7-year-olds at playtime, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is too. I find it a little strange, to be honest with you. Anyway, moving on. How are we doing for time? Because we've had some long shows over the past couple of weeks.
We have, yes, we have. And it's thank you for listening. I want to say and thank you for your comments again. We've a few new people commenting at the bottom of the YouTube videos. So
some I haven't a clue about.
Thank you for that.
I mean, we don't mind.
No,
please don't think that we're in it for subscribers, fame, fortune, reward, recognition.
No,
or appearing on other people's shows. Guess what? Yeah. Good job. We're good at radio. We're rubbish at TV.
And we do read your comments. We're not like some of people on here who disable the comments and don't let you put your 2 penneth in.
We actually reply to everything as well. Actually, we do to reply to everything.
Yeah, we do try and reply. If you do, I do, or both of us reply.
Well, what we found over our years, because we got all the big names, didn't we? In the early years of doing this, we interviewed all the big names, and one way or another, I managed to persuade them to come and have a word with us.
Yeah,
but not all replied.
No.
You see, it's okay being on here and appearing to be available is okay, but it's not always true.
No.
There are a few names
that look at your profile.
I mean, Ike never once replied to me.
No.
Never once actually said thanks very much, but I can't do all the show. I can't do all the shows I'm asked to do.
No.
But thanks for asking. You know, he never once even bothered to reply, and I tried 4 or 5 or 6 times. Jordan Maxwell, there's another one.
Yeah.
Tried loads of times. Even sent him some money. Okay, no thanks very much. No reply. No nothing. Nope. Can't get him on the show. Who else is Anthony Hilder? Okay, a name you don't know. He's all over Facebook asking for help with this, help with that, help with the other. Okay, I've emailed him twice. Guess what? I'm not part of the chosen few.
No.
All right, I am not part of the chosen few. He can't be bothered to reply to me.
They'll look at the subscribers and think, oh, no, they're not worth going on there.
Ian Crane, there's another one, okay?
Yeah.
Ian Crane. I've given up with Ian Crane.
Yeah.
Stefan Molyneux.
Yeah,
okay, I've given up with them.
We're not.
They're not even got the courtesy to say thanks very much, guys, but we can't do them all.
No,
we just can't do them all. They can't be bothered.
No,
but it's okay when I send Stefan 50 quid.
Yeah,
when I send him 50 quid and say thanks for your help, I appreciate it. Or straight back, thanks Paul, thanks for a great donation. That is more than most people send. Here's my donate regular button. Here's my donate regular button. So you can join the inner circle of people who do the. And you think, Oh dear.
Oh yeah.
Oh dear.
I know, it does show them up.
There's no money in this. There's no money in this at all.
There isn't. No.
There isn't, because what we're sharing is known by others. What we're sharing is known by many other people above us.
Yeah.
The language taught us what we know, which is why we share what we know.
They've-
And what we're learning is only worth something to us.
Yeah.
We can't sell it to anybody because they haven't got any money. And those above laugh their heads off because they already know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got the time to sit around and read the books and talk about this, that, and the other. And I'm sorry, but I have to go out to work to pay for my bills. We don't have a donate button.
Let's have a look at the next
We
level
don't
up,
have a
shall we?
donate button.
Let's have a look at the next level up. How would you like a life, right? Where you go to the best schools, you mix with the best people. As you're growing up, you become able to network with those that are around you. We teach you how, we call it debating.
Yes.
All right, and it is debating. Okay, it's actually not getting yourself
Not
caught.
getting yourself caught.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
debating is.
It
You
is.
don't get caught.
You don't get caught.
Okay,
no.
you don't get yourself into court.
No.
So we teach you how to professionally debate by teaching you all about law and how not to answer questions. Now you're useful to us because we can tell you the answers we want you to give. Right, so here's the life that we've got for you. You'll never actually get your fingers dirty. You'll never actually have to do his work. As long as you really sort of listen to what we're helping you, because we'll keep you on track, because we advisors. So we'll keep you on track. All right, we'll find you. Well, we'll not find you, but we'll introduce you to people, and particularly girls who want to marry you. They might want to marry you. And don't worry about it, this love thing, it's neither here nor there, because they both understand, all the girls are brought up with the education that their job is to find somebody rich and successful and network and join the club, and the families and the bloodlines, they are joining together to not only increase their business, but to increase their control and power within the world of business.
Yeah.
So everybody's on the same page to increase the business aspect of it. So doing the business is just making more of the boys and girls that join the family, join the club. It's like the mafia, but we don't actually shoot people ourselves. Okay? So we've got this life where you actually don't really do any work. You learn to avoid any of the tricky questions. You can marry a girl who is from the right background. She's good at music and dancing and languages and socialising.
Yeah,
She's just right to have on your arm. She doesn't worry about the love thing either. She's not too hung up on that, as long as you look after her properly. You're allowed to have a life of Riley. You can really, as long as you keep it discreet, and we'll help you with that.
And she's got a personal trainer anyway.
Yeah, exactly. As long as she's discreet, she'll be allowed to live and succeed. If she embarrasses you too much, you let us know, and we'll soon see to that for you. Now, as for you, you can actually get up to all sorts, because we realise that you have needs and that sort of thing, and we can help you with that as well. We know what the places where to go, we know the people to introduce you to, and whatever interest that you have, we can certainly help you with that.
You might have a guest house for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With cameras and things, but don't worry about that, because that's for your own safety.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, we actually mollycoddle you into thinking that you are made for this job. Yep. And you get paid. You get paid plenty of money. You'll never run out of money. We'll always make sure there's a good job for you, whether it's business or government. The roundabout keeps going. You'll swap between the two, and pensions guaranteed. 24-hour bodyguard,
chauffeurs,
and how you fix for that. How would you like to do that? You say, yes, sir. I'll be absolutely fine for me. Say, good. Come this way. They're more enslaved than we are.
They are. Yeah.
The only freedom that we have is what we can think, and then what we can do about what we can think. We vote with our money, and our job is to teach our children. It's very hard, isn't it? But we try.
Yeah.
Is there something else that you'd rather be doing?
No, not.
It's only a couple of hours on Tuesday, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And it's a whole week's thinking to get here, isn't it? It keeps your brain busy, it keeps your mind active.
Yeah.
And you see the world for what it is and what it shows you. And we just sit down and talk about it. This should sound like a conversation between two old boys from Yorkshire who halfway get what's going on.
Yeah.
And if you sit and listen to us and enjoy just listening in, thanks very much. And like I said a week or two ago, if you want to complain about it, have a think about why you're complaining. If you want to critique, we're all ears.
Or you've got something to add.
And if you want to join us, then that would be ace. That would be ace.
Yeah.
You know, you catch up with me on Skype. Say, hiya, Paul. I'd love to sit in with the show.
Mm-hmm.
We can put Skype through this computer. I can put it through that mixer.
Yeah.
And they can sit in with the show live, and we can say, and sat in with us tonight we have whoever, and they can join in whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
There's a guy on Facebook called Mark McMark, and he's a chatty fella. Seems quite informed, intelligent, and quite stable. A little bit on the pie in the sky stuff, but I don't mind that. It's not for me, but I don't mind it if it's for you. I've invited him to come and have to spend some time with us.
Come and have a chat.
Yeah. Just stop people. Just stop. They just don't know.
No.
Nothing. No reply. No nothing. Nothing at all. Gonna have one more at Neil. What's his name? Neil Kramer.
Neil Kramer.
One more go.
I don't get him.
It's okay. He gets. He's a little bit OTT for some people. But there is some things that I like to listen to him. He does understand the construct. He has a different way of explaining stuff. Neil Kramer. I'm going to have one more go at him. All right? One more bloody go. He's from this part of the world. Yeah. It's about time he gave us a little... I mean, we don't need any exposure.
No.
It's just something different for us.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do this every week.
No.
We did 4 hours yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
But it's something different for us. It's like, you can't be right about everything, guys. Well, it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong.
No.
And enjoy the interaction where we can ask our questions. Next Monday, before I tell you, before we go, next Monday, our prospective UKIP candidate.
Oh, yes.
Monday.
Oh, he's coming on a Monday.
He's coming into Ripon on Monday to the Deanery.
All right.
I don't know why I'm saying this. I don't know why. No one knows what that is. We're going to have a crack at him next week.
Yeah.
We're going to meet him and say, can we have half an hour of your time? Will you spend some time with us and record with us? And if you want, I'll tell you his name and where he lives and why you want. Anyway, another Tuesday.
Yes. Doesn't it fly? It flies by.
What matters is what you leave behind, isn't it? And what you leave behind is memories. It's just memories, isn't it? Nothing else. You can try and be the richest guy in the graveyard. You can try and break your neck to fill a life full of stuff. But the stuff will break. It'll not be what's remembered.
No.
And if you are remembered for leaving the most stuff, is that what you want to be remembered for? I don't want to be remembered for that. I want to be remembered for making the world just a little bit better because I was here.
Yeah.
That might be a big boast. I realise that, I might be a bit ambitious. Good. I didn't think it'd be bloody easy.
No, at least realising where it went wrong.
Took us a few years, didn't it?
Did, yeah.
I mean, if you're under 40, please don't be offended by what we're saying. All we're sharing that we're learning with you now, we didn't know before 40 either.
No, we didn't before that time.
So, I can almost say I'm a little jealous if you're getting this stuff.
If you've got this...
If you're getting this stuff on the 40.
You've got this in your 20s.
Yeah. Well done to you.
Really well done.
I'm not picking on you. I'm saying well done for hearing it, for recognising it, and for valuing it. Would you have valued it at 20-something? I'm not sure I would.
No, I wasn't. I would have thought
it was space age rubbish.
I'd been too pre-programmed into house, job, kids.
So enjoy it. Please don't think we're trying to offend anybody. Enjoy it, and believe me when we both say I'm a bit bloody jealous. Actually, I wish I'd picked this up 30 years ago.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be where I am now if I had.
Now, my grandmother was a wonderful person. She taught me how to play the game Monopoly. She understood that the name of the game is to acquire. She would accumulate everything she could, and eventually she became the master of the board. And eventually, every time, she would take my last dollar, and I would quit in utter defeat. And then she would always say the same thing to me. She'd look at me and she'd say, "One day, you'll learn to play the game." One summer, I played Monopoly with a neighbor almost every day, all day long. We'd play Monopoly for hours. And that summer, I learned to play the game. I came to understand the only way to win is to make a total commitment to acquisition. I came to understand that money and possessions, that's the way that you keep score. And by the end of that summer, I was more ruthless than my grandmother. I was ready to bend the rules if I had to win that game. And I sat down with her to play that fall. I took everything she had. I destroyed her financially and psychologically. I watched her give her last dollar and quit in utter defeat. And then she had one more thing to teach me. Then she said, now it all goes back in the box. All those houses and hotels, all the railroads and utility companies, all that property and all that wonderful money. Now it all goes back in the box. I didn't want it to go back in the box. No, she said. None of it was really yours. You got all heated up about it for a while. But it was around a long time before you sat down at the board. And it will be here after you're gone. Players come and players go. But it all goes back in the box. Houses and cars, titles and clothes, filled barns, bulging portfolios, even your body. Because the fact is that everything I clutch and consume and hoard is going to go back in the box, and I'm going to lose it all. That's not much of an ROI on that. You have to ask yourself, when you finally get the ultimate promotion, when you've made the ultimate purchase, when you buy the ultimate home, when you have stored up financial security and climbed the ladder of success to the highest rung you can possibly climb it, and the thrill wears off, and it will wear off, then what? How far do you have to walk down that road before you see where it leads? Surely you understand, it'll never be enough. So you have to ask yourself the question, what matters?
The most important question.
Mm-hmm.
What does matter?
Yeah.
Google on the internet, letters left by people who are on the deathbeds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they say the same things. I worked too hard. I didn't love enough. I didn't laugh enough. I have enough. And now it's just keeping it.
Yeah.
Keeping it going.
Mm.
And enjoying the ride home.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm going.
Mm.
And you're working very hard to achieve that.
Yeah.
And I know you're getting your family involved in a way that if we work together, this will be more successful for us all.
Trying to,
it's a different way of thinking, but
it is.
It's brave of you to do it.
It's hard to get them out of that,
It is.
out of the programmed way of thinking.
But it's coming though. I think it's going to come, even though you're ahead of the game and you understand now that if we're going to succeed as mum and dad and two kids, we're going to have to all work together to make that success happen. Individually, it's going to be much harder.
Yes.
But you are pioneering the way that we're going to learn how to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not going to be easy to be a pioneer.
No.
There are lots of boxing matches because pioneers always have to fight.
Yeah.
Remember the matches with the name on the front of them?
Yeah.
Because pioneers used to have to fight. Lots of boxing matches.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well done to you, because you're not going to give up. I know you're not.
No.
You're going to persevere. You're going to show that maybe
keep
that was the way we used to do it. But things have changed. We've jacked house prices up, and we've caused ourselves a little bit of a difficulty in allowing our kids to have the same enjoyment of life as we have. But we can still do it. We just have to think different. And thinking different is what we're going to have to learn, all of us collectively.
Yeah.
We have to work out that we've got to work together. The future is coming, whether we like it or not. What part we play in it is we can either be a dinosaur or we can sit at the front. We have a choice. A dinosaur to refuse and turn down the opportunity to be better. And to sit at the front and not do anything about sitting at the front, which is what we do. We're actually pretty much sat at the front understanding what is coming tomorrow and next week.
Yeah.
Most people see the gas bill and the problem, but we try and understand what's coming next week, next month, next year. Try and prepare for what challenges and damages and potholes might exist if we don't actually understand these things. So prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to change.
How can that be wrong?
Yeah.
It can't be, can it?
If it don't work, you've got to change something, haven't you?
If you always do what you've always done, you'll always have what you've always had.
Yeah.
And if you're copying other people, you'll never be successful because they've already done it.
Mm-hmm.
Another Tuesday.
Yeah.
Good night
Thanks
from me.
for listening.
And good night from me.
Good night.
Bye.